Welcome back to the big issue on 97.3 City FM and also on City TV, discussing the pros and cons of electing MMDCs. It's a conversation that has come back up. We almost tried to do this 2019, ended up not getting consensus, so it was withdrawn. But here we are. The president has opened the window again, and there's discussion on how to get this done, because that seems to be the bone of contention between the two sides. And eventually this has become political. Yes, there are CSOs and all, but Honorable Nilanti van der Poy, Member of Parliament for Dododio, this has become another proxy battle between the MPP and the NDC. In fact, just this week I was speaking to a political insider who said in Parliament there was consensus between the MPP and the NDC on this particular matter, way ahead of time, until the chairman of your party, Mr. Samuel, mounted the platform somewhere and said, we are not going to do this. Then you and your friends ran away from the consensus that you had built. And that is why they point fingers at you, that we are not voting for MMDCs now. How do you defend yourself?
Well, thank you very much. First, let me say good morning to all our cherished viewers and listeners, and also to my very good friends, Franklin Kujo, Fiadomo, Dr. Fiadomo, Dr. Asante, and also MC Nkum. Yes. But I want to speak like just as Fiadomo spoke. I'm a purist when it comes to issue about local governance.
Yeah, you're a lifetime local governance man, so.
I was in the second assembly in 1994. And I've served throughout my life in Parliament in the local government committee. I was the deputy minister for local government, and possibly looking at how far I'll go when it comes to local government in the next Mahama regime. So when it comes to issue about local governance, I am very, very important, because my parents also work within the local government service. So it's very important to me. It affects me. I look at it and I say, look, this is something very important. Let me start from this point. Growing up, let me tell you, 90% of all the development projects that we have in this country, development, or let me say infrastructure development that we've seen in this country, were actually initiated by local authorities. Local authorities. The local assemblies and local authorities were very vibrant in the past. Over the period, they seem interest has waned in local governance, and it's because of politicization. Let me be frank with you. I've lived it, and I can tell you. The local governance system we inherited from the colonialists and practiced in our first, second, third republics were much more effective, much more nationalistic than the one we are practicing today. Because I'm being truthful and objective as possible. Politics has diluted, desecrated, and virtually made it impossible for us to have a very, very effective local governance system. So as soon as I'm a politician, but as soon as you mention politics with local governance, I become to shiver a bit. The truth of the matter is, like what your tester said, our politics is so dirty in a way that if you're not careful, it will affect communal mobilization, communal cohesion. Let me just mention one thing. When we introduced the National Sanitation Day, what was the objective? The objective was to have a very clean Ghana, improve our sanitation, improve our health delivery and everything, and also incentivize local governance. But it became an NDC thing because the MPP people saw that, look, let's not push these people to enhance, go ahead with this policy. You understand? Today, after abandoning it for 5 years, they use the back door to introduce Operation Clean Your Frontage. What's the difference? This is what politics can do to our local governance system. Let me take the issues as I've been addressed one by one. I first want to take from the Franklin Kujo point, and I'm happy Nyautama also raised it. Look, all these discussions have come up again because of what? The violence we saw during the approval of MMDCs this time. It's unprecedented in our history.
Really?
Unprecedented. I told you, I have been part of this system since the first introduction. You understand? From unit committee to assembly member and all those things. And the violence that have characterized the approval of MMDCs this time, I've never seen it before. So let's look at the issue. It's because we have a dictatorial and tyrannical system in place where what I want must always be the case. That is something we must look at. And critically, look at the face of government and the president and tell him, you have desecrated our local governance system. Pure. And that's what Nyao said. Nyao even went further. And that also falls in line with what Frankie Kujo said about the local assemblies and the MMDCs being incapacitated because of lack of resources. And it's true. As we see today, government for 1 year has not given the assemblies any money to operate.
But should that not... Some of the assemblies to suffer, but like the big ones, Accra,
the big ones,
Takrady,
they are even suffering more.
Kumasi.
As I speak with you today, AMA is under the hammer, under the gavel.
Yes, I've heard
Kumasi
of that.
too, under the gavel. Tamale has cases in court. Sagani Takrady has cases in court. I'm telling you, the big assemblies have problems. And let me tell you, with AMA, and I pointed it out to the new mayor, one of the main reasons why AMA is suffering because revenue mobilization for AMA is going to political apparatchiks' pockets. I'm telling you, you go to Abublochi, you have 5 different tickets being given out to market women. And all these 5 tickets belong to different people. The money doesn't go to AMA. So how is AMA going to generate the income and the revenue to be able to embark upon its activities and to pay its debts? If the politician will stay off our local governance system, the system will enhance development of this country. 2, if you have somebody who doesn't believe in good governance as head of state, and this one I'm referring to people who are advancing the political debate. Look, as I'm talking to you now, we are going back to court. The minority is going back to court, maybe next week, to get a court, the Supreme Court, to determine what the Constitution means by quarterly.
Really?
Yes, because if the Constitution says that, the 252, Article 252, says that government must give at least 5% of total revenue to this assembly's common fund to be disbursed to these assemblies. And government can decide to interpret quarterly in its own manner. That 1 year can be a quarterly this thing to government. Then we need to go to court for the court to define for us what the Constitution means by when it says quarterly. So that every government, it's not only Akufo-Addo's government, everybody who finds himself in government will be responsible enough to know that when Constitution says quarterly, it means 3 months. So by the next month, you must give 5% of total revenue to the assemblies. You understand me? 2, when the Supreme Court, in the judgment of Benkodo and Ruchukwashiga versus the Republic, when the Supreme Court said total revenue, what did they mean by total revenue? Does it mean government can get up, go and borrow $1.5 billion cocoa syndicated loan, and then buy cocoa, and then use the revenue to defray that loan and deprive the district assemblies of 5% of that revenue that will come from cocoa? Does it mean government can take oil revenue and keep it away from the rest of tax revenue so that district assemblies cannot get 5% of the oil revenue? Does it really mean government can take out monies meant for GRA, GMPC investment from total revenue before giving 5% to the assemblies? All these are questions that all of us will have to ask. If we don't, any government that finds itself, if we go political and decides that, oh, after the elections, I didn't have too many of my people winning to become MMDCs, so I'm going to decide when to give monies to assemblies. In fact, I can decide when to send the quota. I can decide on how to define total revenue. The system will continue to suffer. I'm saying it because these are some of the problems. My belief is that as a people, if we want to transit from one particular point to the other, we must sit down critically to observe the point where we are. What are the problems in this area? What are some of the resolutions we can put in? What are the things we can do so that when we land in the new foundation, we will not face these same problems that we are facing? You don't just move from one house to the other without looking at the problems you are facing in this particular house and looking ahead as to what sort of living you want to have in the next house. So people just post it in. Oh, let's go, let's vote, let's vote, let's vote. It's not just a matter of voting. We can vote tomorrow, like Frank Kujo said. If we don't resolve the problems that we are encountering today, even when we vote angels, we shall have the same problems. Because you could be the best person to be voted at any point in time, whether political or not. If government does not fund, government will not be responsible enough to understand that if you dissolve responsibilities, it goes with fiscal dissolution. So government must know that you can't keep the fiscal aspect of decentralization to yourself and then just assign responsibilities. Other than we will not go anywhere. I want to also take a very sensitive issue. All the people who are propagating these arguments on politics, let's politicize. Because the system as we have today, there's lack of interest. Where is the lack of? Why are people talking that way?
Because they say a lot of people
sit down and critically look at my total votes in Odododio. And then critically look at the votes of all the electoral areas that constitute Ashedu Keteke and put it together and see whether that argument is wholly true. Because if one assemblyman had about 7,000 votes, another had about 4,000, and put all the people who contested in the assembly elections together, you understand? Because that forms my constituency. You cannot just look at the participation in one electoral area or something and conclude that there's lack of interest. When I contested assembly member, I had about, I think about 1,000 naira something to win. Recently, in my electoral area, the person who won had over 4,000 votes. So it is not wholly true that the interest in assembly elections is waning or has always been low. To me, I've got to look at it, the interest is growing. But let's go back to the argument. Should it be political or not? Yes. That was the argument. Look, Dr. Sari made a point, and I want to tell him that the NDC has moved away from that stand long ago. The stand of the NDC earlier on that we should use the CRC report in order to determine whether we should vote and how we should vote. NDC has moved away from that. NDC in our last manifesto stated clearly that we want election of MMDCs. But then we have posited, and that's the point we came to in Parliament. There are two main issues. Article 55, 3 and 243(1).
What does 55 say?
55(3) debars political parties. Political parties can do anything. In fact, change you into a woman. But they should not get involved in district assembly or local governance.
Okay.
This is what it says. The framers of the Constitution brought this in because they sat down and looked at our political history since the days of Nkrumah and look at our developmental history. And as I said from the beginning, saw that, look, if we are not careful, the way we are doing our politics, if you're not careful to insulate the local governance system from partisan politics, we may end up corrupting local governance system and it will affect development. That's why this article, seriously I believe, was put there. It's subject to the provisions of this article. A political party is free to participate in shaping the political will of the people, to disseminate information on political ideas, social and economic programs of a national character, and sponsor candidates for elections to any public office other than the district assemblies or lower local government units. You understand? But what will resolve the problem we are talking about is 2431.
What does 2431?
2431 says there shall be a district chief executive for every district who shall be appointed by the president with the prior approval of not less than 2/3 majority of members of the assembly present and voting at the meeting. That's what we were looking at. Election of MMDCs. The MPP at the time were saying that let's elect DCs on partisan basis. So they want us to amend Article 55(3) so that we can elect. And we are saying that you can't just amend 55(3) and allow political parties to get involved in local government system and these assembly elections. But then the contention, what we are all talking, what Ghanaians are talking about, Ghanaians are not even conversant with this. Ghanaians are more conversant with the mode of election of MMDCs, which is 2431. So if you are looking at less amending and politicize the system, then let's amend everything. Let's amend all the constitutional provisions on local governance and go ahead. But then the questions now move to what Fiadomo said. If we do that, what it means that we must also elect assembly members on partisan basis. Where are the political parties going to get the money to sponsor 6,000 other candidates for electoral areas? Over 30,000 unit committee members. Where are the parties going to get the money? The parties are even struggling with raising the necessary funding in order to sponsor parliamentary candidates. 2, what is going to happen to the 30% appointees to the assembly? What was the reason for that clause? From my understanding, the reason why we brought that in is that the assemblies possible could be constituted without the sort of expertise that we have within the jurisdiction of the assembly. So, because somebody like you, the way we conduct assembly elections, you will not want to go and stand there and people come and ask you unnecessary questions. Like me, I remember when I was contesting assembly, somebody came and asked me, where did I get my name Van der Poel from? Because as Nilante, I should be Nilante Lamte or Nilante Bruce or Nilante something. Was it a case that my mother brought me from somewhere to come and marry my father? Can you believe that question? How many girlfriends do you have? You understand? So somebody will not, with that sort of professional bag or expertise, will not subject himself to those questionings. So they will stay away. There was a time when a conservative laborer of an assembly in the Eastern region defeated a professor at Legon. So the assembly have been deprived of the knowledge of the professor. So we look at all this and it said that, look, then the 30% should be reserved for experts. And so our chiefs have also since historically been part of our development process. So the 30% should be reserved for traditional authorities, for these people with expertise and backgrounds to complement the, let me say, the sort of architecture we have in the assembly. So when we are discussing issues in assembly, these people will help with their ideas. So what are we going to do with that 30%?
But that 30% in Nilante realistically has also been bastardized because
I agree.
We know what
that is where there. That is one of the issues I'm talking about. Is the politics that have spoiled our system, and people are saying we should further push it into politics. Now let me come. Look,
wrap it up.
Yes, there's this argument that we have looked at. I seriously, like I raised the issue of interest. If you have this product, you've introduced it into the market, and consecutively you've done analysis and see that it's not attracting the interest that you have to do. What do you have to do? It's not rebranding the product, making your marketing strategies much more effective. Do you just kill the product if you believe the product is good? So let's look at what we can do to make the assembly system, the election of assemblymen, more attractive than to say, let's kill it. The other issue about gender came in. One of my fears, when in these days of sustainable goals, we are talking about inclusivity. How many political parties are willing to sponsor female candidates as assembly members? Even when they are having problems getting people for parliamentary. But my view is that within a particular jurisdiction, if you irrespective of your political affiliation. You've shown within the Dansoman area that you have what it takes to organize, lead the community, mobilize resources, and do things within the Dansoman area. Then, Godfrey, you can present yourself as wanting to be MC for Ablekuma West. Than to go there and NDC. Immediately you project yourself as NDC. Suppose you are NDC candidate, you should know that the political balance in that constituency does not favor you. So perpetually, a political party will continue to give us very bad political parliamentary candidates and give us very bad MMDC candidates. Because there are certain constituencies I can say, because I know myself, the constituents are complaining about their MPs, parliamentary candidates that are given to them. But they have no option because that political tradition dominates the constituency. Do we want to see the same with? So then we'll have very bad MP, very bad MC in a particular development will suffer.
But where is the difficulty in being able to separate national political interest from district political interest or local political interest?
We are human beings. It will be difficult because of this perception of winner takes all.
Okay.
It will be very difficult. That's why I believe, as a purist, I believe that yes, let's resolve the problems with MMDC appointed and let's elect. But let's not bring our politics at the central level down there. Because if we do that, those of us who have belonged to local, we have experienced it. I'm happy Fiadomo has been a presiding member before. He's been an assembly member before. I'm happy he's on. If you talk to people who have really been in the assembly system before, not you, the so-called academicians who hang around and do research on it once at a time. Live it. Practice it. Ask Bob Marley, is it Bob Marley or this who say, who the car fits? And feel it, and then you'll be able to do critical analysis of it. I've lived assembly system, the local governance system, and I've lived the political system. And I can tell you, a lot of the ills that we are seeing within the system is as a result of our politics. The final thing I want us to talk about is this. We talking about discrimination, transnational, transactional, nature of our politics and all those things. What will happen at the local level? Look, let me be frank with you. The violence we are seeing with the appointment and approval of MMDCs will be worse when we decide to politically elect them. What did we see in the last elections? How many people died? 9. Look, if we're going to have a system whereby we have a tyrannical government in place who want to consolidate power at all costs, we shall see worse, security threats, worse violence at the local level than we are even seeing at the constituency level with parliamentary elections. I'm telling you, today, how many cases of the parliamentary elections do we have in court? We shall have more of such litigations when it comes to local level. That's why we think that let's keep our politics where it is. Let's continue to practice. We are all for election of MNDs. The NDC, the minority in parliament, the NDC as a party is all for election of MMDCs, but not on partisan basis.
Thank you very much, Nilante van der Poy, Member of Parliament for the Dodio. So let me go back and do a final round, and then we can wrap this up, hopefully. And I better keep the messages coming. I have quite a lot today on this particular matter. 0549986996, 0550585832, 0549986996, 0550585832. I was hoping to hear from Bismarck Bezi Nkum, who is president of the National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, NALAG. Once I'm able to fix his connection, I will invite him into the conversation. His input will be crucial. Okay, Bismarck Bezi Nkum is able to speak to us. Honorable Nkum, good morning.
Good morning, Godfrey.
Are you in Accra or you are hiding jurisdiction?
I was in Apam last week. Apache's office wasn't
there. Today alone, I have about 15 funerals to take care of. So I started early in the morning.
Is that part of your job? To attend funerals?
Right. It is a critical local government element.
Attending funerals is a critical local government element. It's
a political responsibility, not administrative.
On the weekend,
you have to be very close to the people. Honorable Nilanche, he didn't show up, but I went through. In fact, I've been very busy this morning, for which reason I'm unable to celebrate my own birthday today and that of my twins. Today is my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday for all of us, Bismarck.
I was in his office last week.
Last week, Honorable Van der Poel says he was in your office. You were not there. What were you doing?
In fact, we were all in Accra for the orientation. I'm sure that is why I wasn't in the office then. I'm sure.
And I am hoping that my colleague and boss Benadable's hope for your orientation was that they teach you some useful things that will change the country. So we are all hoping that the orientation went well. But I'm sure you've also heard the debates that has gone on. Would you prefer to be voted for in the next cycle if you do intend to come back?
Absolutely.
On a partisan basis or in an organic vein?
Absolutely, on partisan basis. And,
you don't think you can win if you don't contest on a political party platform?
I can, but there are reasons why I support the election of MMDCs on partisan basis.
Go on.
Critically, one of those factors is what Honorable Nilanche has discussed extensively. The issue of interest cannot be ignored. In fact, we have practiced the democratic dispensation for 28 years now. The mistake we made from the onset was to practice democracy in different forms at various levels. At the national level, we have given the power to elect our leaders to the grassroots people. Then at the local level, we have rather done the other way around. We have taken the power from the grassroots people and given it to the president, who is the number one personality in the country. So what we have been doing over the period is that we have been practicing a hybrid of democracy in Ghana, which is the bane of local government problems we have today. And I want to assert on that. Godfrey, look around the globe, on the African continent, the Europeans, look at the Americans, the Asians. Tell me in which of the South American countries or the Americas will you have the leader of the nation elected on adult suffrage basis? And then when it comes to the local government, they are appointed by the leader who was then elected by the people. Completely opposite is what we are practicing in the country. And that is why we are of the view that we have practiced the current dispensation for quite long. The interest, we have not been able to whip it up. We have managed to, at the last election, increase the voter participation by about 76%, close to almost 80%. For the same 28 years that we have practiced the local government, we have not been able to do this for over 40 or 45%. I appreciate it when Honorable Nilanche makes reference to his constituency. The fact that in his constituency, the participation is almost at par or at least growing to the par of the participation in the parliamentary election does not mean the same for the other 274 constituencies. That is less than a percentage of what in fact is less than 0.2% of the total number of constituencies we have. So the scenario in his constituency is not the same as what we have elsewhere. We have said before, and when I say we, I mean not like that I lead as president. Now look, the political parties have special skills. They have leadership well organized from the polling stations to the national level. Organizational skills, superb. They're able to put themselves together, go into a competition, mobilize almost everybody along, and we get this major decision of electing our leader done by the grassroots people. Then on top of that, the Constitution gives the president the power to appoint the chief executive, and the power of the president is subjected to a lower power, which is the power of the assembly member. And that is why we are of the view that it is in our collective interest to go and elect our MMDCs so that things as we experience in Ghana Central, Achiase, and few other places will not rear their ugly heads again. And let me put on record that about 4 or 5 or 6 isolated incidents of the 261 MMDCs that were nominated, as at last Tuesday, 250 of them had been confirmed. Government, look at the percentage confirmation and see. Yes, we have isolated cases which, not like we issue statement to those effects that we are not happy, things of that nature should not happen. But we should not grossly exaggerate that this has been the case this time around. Check the records for 2012. Check the records for 2008. Godfred, if you remember the famous incident of Yamua Ponko of Ejiso, who could not go through confirmation, a lot of things happened. And that was not the only one. A lot of other districts, a lot of things happened. That is why we say that let us do away with the current system. Let us go and vote and elect our MMDCs. And the argument that when we go and vote for our MMDCs on partisan basis, we are not going to get competent people here and there to represent the people in the electoral areas. I have a difficulty with it. When we keep pushing that argument, then by extension, we are suggesting that we have elected wrong members of parliament to represent us at the National Assembly. That's my opinion. In parliament, we have serious committees. Honorable Lilante himself, Committee on Local Government, a strong personality. We have finance and budget. We have able members of parliament who were elected on partisan basis. We have people with those backgrounds, and they are on those committees. When it comes to defense, it comes to interior, when it comes to agri, we have able members of parliament with those backgrounds to be able to represent us in those committees. So I don't buy into the argument that when we go and elect our chief executives on partisan basis, we are likely to only elect people who are maybe politically biased or people who are just partisan. No, I disagree completely with that. And Honorable Nalate himself has been a member of assembly member before. Dr. Fiajo, about 4 years ago, was an assembly member. He holds a PhD. How did he become an assembly member? Is it because he was just a partisan person, or was it based on his competence? And this one too, we should be very bold and say it, that even though the Constitution does not allow election of district assembly, the members as assembly members on partisan basis, behind the scenes in reality, that is what we do. Nobody who wanting to be honest will deny this fact. In fact, as I speak to you, political parties run primaries to get people to contest on their ticket. The thing is that they will not come public. They will not show party colors. But once 2 or 3 or more people from one political parties show up to contest, then you see the leadership of the political parties organizing a meeting, giving them reasons why the rest should drop for one of them to contest. What is it? It is partisan. It is political. So we are only deceiving ourselves in the public domain when we say today what we are practicing is not partisan. It is partisan, except that we have not taken it off our constitution.
But Bismarck, hold on. Is that not perhaps the reason why the purists like Dr. Fiadomo and others say we need less of that? Because let's be honest, Dr. Inkum, what have been the benefits, Mr. Honorable Inkum? There has been no proper significant development in assemblies to speak of, because most of the assemblies are beholden to the central government, and so they are afraid to speak up. And so development is never transformative. It is mostly token development that you get.
That I also disagree.
Honorable Nkum? Well, I seem to have a technical problem with.
Most of the basic schools we have in my district were schools that were constructed by the district assembly. In fact, today, Gomwa West that I lead is building teachers' quarters to give decent accommodations to teachers within our district. Yes, on occasions you have got central government projects, central government construction the highways that goes through your district, feeder routes, also working on some of them. But the basic services are led by the local authorities. In the last 4 years that I took over, I have built about 6 schools. None of them built by central government. So the argument that development also at the local level is lagging, I disagree. Yes, I acknowledge that over the past 3 or 4 quarters, common fund allocations have not been released to the district assemblies. That does not mean that as assembly we are not working. We are working. Just last week, I commissioned a 6-unit teachers' quarters at Frida. This week again, by Friday, I am going to commission another one. There are projects dotted around. I think when we overly put everything together and say development is not going on at the local level, I have a problem with it. But let's look.
But maybe it's also because of your expectation. Because I'm sorry, but let me put myself in this equation. I work on a radio show in the mornings, and the level or the quality of local governance that citizens expect is not what they are getting. So yes, you might feel satisfied from where you are sitting, but if perhaps your citizens had the opportunity to vote to tell you, you might be surprised at them telling you that, yeah, you built 6 schools, but what is the nature of the schools and what is the overall effect of what you have done?
Yes, Godfred, if you ask me, I will tell you. In my district, when I took over, BEC pass rate was 35%. I have grown that to about 70%. It is as a result of deliberate investment that we have made into that sector. And again, your point really, it means you agree with me that we should change the current system. If we agree that the current local government system has not given the best of our expectations, then let us change it. We should not be afraid. Let us change it and see what the future holds in stock for us. It's so simple. Neil and Vanderpool spoke about rebranding the product. When we say vote for your chief executive, it does not mean that take local government away. Local government still exists, and that is one way of rebranding local government. We should not be afraid. In fact, we can try 3, 4, 5 systems within a period of time and adopt the best among the systems. So this really is the way to go. Godfred, I have given you an assignment on the continent. Even Nigeria, find out whether local government are elected on partisan basis or not.
But their system is quite different. And frankly, you don't want to cite Nigeria as an example for anything, do we?
Yes, but I'm giving you Sierra Leone too. Who copied ditto from our local government system. Honorable Nilante Vanderpool is very much aware of that. Where are they today? I gave an example that the mayor of Freetown today belongs to an opposition leader. They have found a way to coexist. Why can't we agree as a people that we are one people and that whenever we go into election and we elect a leader, that leader represents our collective interest? If he does not perform, we have the opportunity to vote him out when the opportunity avails itself. This is my own opinion. Why would we want to operate a system that we all collectively agree that has not helped our cause? Can't we change it? And this thing, and local government really is about grassroots participation. It's about mass participation by the people. And when we have a system that we have worked with for over 28 years, we go for election and just 45% of the people who are registered to vote, in most cases less than that, participate. That should tell you that the system is not attractive enough. And that as a people, we must switch our gear, get to the different gear and see whether that will work for us. If it works for us, we adopt it and put our stamp on it. If it doesn't work for us, that is why we have our parliament there. The members of parliament liaising with the executive should be able to reason and say, look, we have tried this system, it did not work. We adopted this for 8 years, 12 years. We think it is even worse. What is the way forward? We must practice system over a period of time to be able to determine which one is best for us. If we have practiced national elections, election of parliamentarians, election of a president, together with election of assembly members, parallel over a period of time, the same number of years that we have practiced our democracy, and one is lagging behind, then we should know there is a problem with one. And that problem ought to be corrected. And the solution does not lie in just open it up and say it is everybody can contest. In any case, when we say it is partisan, it means everybody else can contest. That is why we have independent candidates all over. So it's a system. We should not be afraid. We should try it and see how that system will work for us. In fact, as long as we continue to work with one system, and in our collective opinion, the system is not good for us, then we have accepted the responsibility that this system is not good, but we are going to continue to work with it anyway. This is what we are telling ourselves. Let us try another system. Let us give the power to the people. And in giving the power to the people, let us take advantage of the political organization of the various political parties that we have. Their organizational skills, their competence level, the level of competition, the euphoria that comes with it. We should take advantage of all that. And when we do this, trust you me, the examples we have seen in other parts of Africa, I think Ghana will succeed. If we do not, Parliament should lead us. If we have to change our laws, it is the responsibility of the executive coming through the legislature for them also to work on it for us. This is really my position.
All right, thank you very much. Honorable Bismarck Bezinko is President, National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana. I was going to try and do a final round on this, but time has arrested me on this matter. So I'll take messages and then we'll move on to the second phase of the conversation. On this, Kweku from La Paz says, Godfred, I want non-political members with management skills to also participate in MMDCs. I'm tired of this NPP and NDC duopoly. Good morning, sir, and good morning to Honorable Nilanti. It's a good start to elect MMDCs, but not along partisan basis. This is Mosquito General from Tamale. Sambo from Chepone says, I wish to propose that we have 3 candidates who are qualified within the party in power, and then you have an election based on that. Then we also go to good morning, Godfred. I'm totally against politics at the local level. Both NPP and NDC did not conduct themselves well at the national level. Both parties are not the only intelligent groups in this country. If it is introduced at the local level, they will become winner. It will become a winner takes all. So I disagree with this. Non-partisan means the person who wins at that level will always know that they are not there because of their political affiliation. A typical example is when about 12 years ago, a well-known NDC sympathizer became an assemblyman in a typical MPP stronghold like Community 4 in Tema. So those are some of the messages that have come in. More say, Bibi from North Kaneshi says, those arguing for politicization of the local government are those exploiting and benefiting from the system. Majority of Ghana's problems have been due to over-politicization and partisanship. We should not take that level of craziness to the local level. Kweku from Matayeko also comes in and says, voting on a partisan basis doesn't mean independent candidates cannot stand. What is needed is for increased public participation. It might take time, but after a while, it won't matter about the party bit based on the work the elected person does. There is no guarantee that elections at that level can be done partisan, even if the law says so. So we are better off making it partisan and then letting it evolve. if the people after some time are not getting the development they want, they will learn to vote outside the lines. And then let me just go to Twitter. Quite a few as well have come through on Twitter. So Kennedy Jabate tweeting says that, good morning, Godfred. Our MMDC is giving targets on development. If not, then that is a problem. The common funds should also get to the districts as soon as possible. Kofi Ada says, we the people in Ghana are saying that top-down decisions and initiatives, including protests, is not addressing our needs, so we need elections based on a non-partisan basis for our MMDCs. Even assemblymen now vote based on financial influence and not so much on principle. So these are also some of the messages that have come. We'll take another break. When we return, we will switch into phase 2 of the conversation. A big thank you to Dr. Kujua Asante, Director of Advocacy and Policy Development and Policy Engagement at the CDD Ghana, Ms. Mabezi Nkum, President of NALAG, Dr. Richard Fiadomo, President of the Chamber of Local Government, Franklin Kujo, as well, President of Mani Africa. When we return, we'll be joined by the Member of Parliament for Inshiaeso, Honorable Stephen Amwa. He joins Honorable Nilante Vanderpoy as we discuss the EC and the NDC and elections in this country. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Big Issue Phase 2, and we're discussing the response of the Electoral Commission. The NDC, via its former flag bearer and the former President of the Republic on that party's ticket, had leveled some accusations against the Electoral Commission. And the Electoral Commission this week provided a very, very detailed response to these allegations leveled by former President Mahama. Now, he accused the Commission of ballot stuffing, fraud, militarization of the election process, among others. Now, Deputy Chair in charge of Corporate Affairs, Dr. Eric Bosman Asare, at the Commission's led the Citizen No Encounter, disassociated the Commission from the violence that erupted during the electoral process. And he has also said the Commission has asked the Ghana Police Service to investigate the claims of criminality. Now, the NDC on their side say they back the calls from the Electoral Commission for the police to investigate the alleged excess printing of 1 million ballot papers during the 2020 polls. According to them, they are ready to assist the police. And Johnson Asidun Ketia, the General Secretary of the party, he spoke at a press briefing on Thursday as well. So we'll hear from the two sides on this matter in this short report. When we return, like I said, we've been joined by Dr. Stephen Amwa. He is the Member of Parliament for Inshiaeso, and Honorable Nilante Vanderpoy is still in studio.
In the last few weeks, former President Mahama has made a number of allegations against the Electoral Commission and the 2020 elections. As officials charged with the responsibility of conducting elections in Ghana, we owe it a duty to provide Ghanaians with the facts and the truth about the elections and the allegations raised. We are of the view that our silence on these false allegations could have dire consequences as it could undermine citizens' confidence in our dear country. The former president has said the EC printed 1 million ballot papers in favor of the President of the Republic. This is untrue. This is a grave matter that undermines the credibility of our electoral process and should not be ignored. We call on him to provide evidence to support this claim. This is not a matter that should be ignored, and we call on the Ghana Police Service to investigate.
On the part of the Commission to discharge this all-important function in 2020 elections, because this is the first time ever in the history of Ghana where the people of a whole district were disenfranchised, resulting in the lack of representation in the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana, that particular district that comprises of Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolubi, and Likwe. This constitutes a serious breach of the law and democratic principle of no taxation without representation. How can you have a session of the whole country who pay taxes, and yet they are not represented in Parliament. They are not represented where the taxes are determined, and yet they pay taxes. And the one who created this situation expects the citizens to be clapping for them for a good job done. In conclusion, we take note with satisfaction of Bosman Asari's call on Ghana Police Service to investigate the facts put out by President Mahama. Given that President Mahama was on solid ground when making these statements, the NDC stands ever prepared to assist in any credible investigation into the matters raised. We are aware, however, that Bosman Asari's call is only a red herring because he cannot feign ignorance of the fact that the police service is already seized with all the evidence on this matter. On the specific printing of 1 million excess ballot papers and arrest of persons in possession of the printed ballot papers, the Ghana Police Service carried out the arrest and therefore should be providing update on the status of investigation to the population. All that Bosman Asari needs to do is to call on the Attorney General to ask the police to prosecute the offenders. It beggars belief that Bosman Asari will now join the call for investigation into the killing of 8 Ghanaians 10 whole months after the police service had assured Ghanaians it was looking into the killings. The truth is that there is no real interest on the part of the police and the government to bring the perpetrators of the heinous crimes to justice because the killings serve the end of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia and MPP government insofar as it ensures their retention in power. So let the new IGP show the same commitment he has so far shown in bringing errant members of society to book over misdemeanors on the more serious crimes of extrajudicial killings. And the evidence is right in the bosom of the Ghana Police Service. The foregoing demonstrate clearly that the 2020 elections were the worst in Ghana's history. The EC must accept this truth and work towards improving its image and regain the confidence of Ghanaians and all stakeholders. They must shed the current gap of arrogance, intolerance, lack of consensus, outright obstinacy, and obduracy, an open display of hostility towards key stakeholders like the National Democratic Congress. They must immediately revert to the previous posture of accommodation, tolerance, consensus building, respect for stakeholders, and political transparency exhibited by their forebears. Despite our strong reservations about their performance, as expressed by President Mahama and the NDC on various platforms, the NDC remains prepared to engage the EC and all other relevant stakeholders in constructive dialogue with the view to introduce the much-needed reforms to improve upon our electoral architecture. We hope that Jimensa, Bosman Asari, and the Electoral Commission will seize this historic opportunity to mend fences and usher in a period of mutual respect and cooperation to prevent the unfortunate incidents of the past. Finally, it is our expectation that the unacceptable conduct of the 2020 elections will be the last and that steps will be taken to restore confidence and credibility in our electoral process.
So that was Johnson Esedun Ketia, General Secretary of the NDC, addressing some issues. That was on Thursday. And let me go to Honorable Delante Van Der Poel. Aside his interest in local government, he's also one of the NDC's election honchos, so to speak. There's no way they hold an election and he is not in the strategy room. What exactly is your problem with the EC? This thing has been going on for 4 years. We thought it would have calmed down a bit. Then your candidate, your leader comes in and says, ballot stuffing, fraud, militarization of the process. Then the EC also responds via the one person who is always engaging the NDC on this matter, Dr. Eric Bosman. Can't we just let the situation rest and move on?
Well, thank you very much once again. Let me say this. The only reason why these things will come are because elections, historically, across the world, we all saw what happened in the United States of America, of all places. Which, after today, they are having a probe on January 6th. You understand? Yeah. So it's important. Because without that, it will affect the unity of the state. But let me say this, and I'm happy from where you came from. An electoral system, an electoral commission, wherever, the system should be sustainable system. 2, it must be transparent, accountable, credible. 3, it must have a resilient system. And all these is carried by what I call the 2 arms of trust. Trust in the system and trust in the institution as far as the human resource is concerned. These are the benchmarks you will see or you want to see in every electoral system, be it at the family level, be it on the school politics or campus politics and all, assembly level or even at the national level. Even your house, if you are going to be a vote between you and your wife, and your children are supposed to be the voters, and you do not make the playing field even, or you want to take advantage of it, your wife will complain. So we must first look at this. And as far as these things are concerned, the reason why I want to focus much more on the trust is that, contrary to what a lot of people say, that the political parties must have trust in the electoral commission, is the electoral commission who must engender trust in the political parties. Godfred, marriage is an institution ordained by God. People say in marriage, trust is important. You don't go into a marriage with automatic trust. The marriage and the couples in the marriage must engender trust. You build it through your actions, your statements, your pronouncements in the marriage. Don't say because as people believe that there must be trust in marriage, so I come into a marriage with trust. What we do in the marriage, the things you say, the things you do in the marriage, is what to build my trust in you. The same. And I see the electoral commission as a marriage between political parties and the system, the institution. And I believe the most important one is the electoral commission, who should build that trust in the political parties. So when you have a system where the actions, the pronouncements of the electoral commission, be it the chairperson or its adherents or his workers or its assigns and agents, are contrary to the expectations and the principles underlying that trust, you always will have the system we are having. And I'm not saying this just because of the issue of the NDC. I'm talking about elections and democracy all over the world. Look, why are Americans up to today thinking that Donald Trump, some Americans, let me use the word, some Americans thinking that Donald Trump has a case and they are supporting him? Because Donald Trump has sent something out there which continually convinces them that the system was not trustworthy. You understand? What some Democrats have catched the big lie. Here, It's obvious to us that right from day one, the actions and the pronouncements of the Electoral Commission prior to registration and to the processes leading up to elections did not build trust in a particular political party, which obviously is the NDC. Look, if you have a situation where from day one you make one person, let's say your children, you make one person have a feel that you don't like him or her, that in the house, whilst everybody can smile at you, when he smiles at you, he's a problem. There's no way you can build the trust in that child. That's exactly the posture of the commissioner, of the chairperson of the commission, right from day one.
In the eyes of the NDC.
Yes. Then you have a situation where Boss Masari opened his mouth and said that the NDC is a danger to our democracy.
Should he not say that?
Boss Masari, should check himself and know he is the danger to our democracy. Because political party cannot be a danger to democracy.
Why not?
I'm telling you, listen. If you build trust in the political system, when the political system believes in the institution, believes in the system that's being operated, they cannot be a danger. It is your statements and your behavior that will pose danger to the democratic system we are practicing. Because the Electoral Commission has been, and the NDC has participated in elections all over these years. No one has seen the NDC as a danger to our democracy. No one. Justice Anna didn't see it. You understand? Afarijan didn't see it. Charlotte didn't say it. Charlotte Osei didn't see it. It's only Boss Masari. Look, one of the things that we should all accept right from day one, if you build a system that cannot engender trust, it's clear. Look, what are the things that led to the removal of Charlotte Osei? When before those events even happened, there have been pronouncements to the effect that when we come, we shall remove her. 2. And then when she has been removed, and then you replace with people who many obviously know they have been very active political players. Who doesn't know the background of Boss Masari?
He's a political science.
Can you say that? Can you, alone?
Yes.
Maybe do a lot of this thing on him. Do you know positions he's held before? Even in TESCON? You don't know? Boss Masari, do you know where he was staying? Do you know what he was doing politically? Where he was staying, his community, his constituency? You think we are a political party, we just get out and talk? 2, did you see these things ever being said by Afarijan? Did you ever hear Afarijan speak the way Boss Masari spoke?
He's a different man.
It's a different man.
Yeah.
Yes, because he is aware of the responsibilities that go with the position he has taken.
Maybe the NDC is just failing to adapt to a new way of doing things.
Adapt to a new way of doing things.
Yes.
What sort of new ways? Which new ways? Which new ways have the years evolved that makes you make the NDC adapt?
It has different personalities at its helm. They say things differently, do things differently, but within the rules. The NDC perhaps is a stickler for the old ways. You don't want to change.
Let me tell you, new rules and new dynamics should not take away the trust in the system. In fact, it should rather build on the trust that has been built. You get me? Anything you do, new faces, new hands, should rather enhance and sustain the trust that has been built in the past. It should not win it. It should not take off it. It should not diminish it. As soon as that is done, it creates a problem from day one. Look, what is all about that? Let's ask questions. True. Was it true that there were excess ballots printed? against the rules. Yes. There's an evidence.
Where? Explain.
Oh.
Tell us.
Should I show you on my phone?
You can tell us.
You've seen the videos?
I haven't.
Oh.
Tell me.
At the from one printing house, at the close of printing, when all the political parties have signed, the next day when they came to audit before the ballot papers are dispatched, our agents saw an excess of 1 million ballots that have been printed. Mm-hmm. They do the attention of the Electoral Commission to it. Mm-hmm. They said it was a mistake. And all the parties took part in with the security to go and bend.
Yes, you bent it.
So what are you talking about? So was there an excess ballot?
So there was a process to deal with that situation?
Yes, so I'm saying there was an excess ballot.
But it's not. But you dealt with the situation.
Look, it's not a matter of dealing with the situation. Do you accept the fact that there was an excess ballot?
Yes.
Thank you. So what are we talking about? So if the former president talk about excess ballot, what are we talking about?
No, why is he grieving about it then?
No,
if the situation was dealt with.
It was for Boss Mansari to come and tell us that yes, it was true. There was an excess ballot. It was a mistake, but we dealt with it in this way. That is the pronouncement, wisdom that will engender trust. But you don't come when it is clear that what the person says is factual. You don't come to rather brand the person as agent provocateur. You get me? And we expected more from him, from his level. Academically and socially. Wisdom is not a product in the classroom. It's developed from experiences. 2, were there situations when certain people were arrested in certain constituencies, for example, in Ashanti region, with more than one ballot paper? Were there situations? Did the Electoral Commission itself document that in its records? Did they find its way into the Kodio report? So, when these things have been raised, they are all to help us be able to discuss and fashion out ways and means that we can ameliorate or minimize them in the future to make the system resilient and sustainable. 2, were there violence in our elections? I'm asking you.
The EC has not denied it.
But what did they say? That they were not at the coalition center. Stateman, was it in my father's house? Was it in my father? Was it in Boss Mansari's chamber or in his kitchen? Where the violence happened, when people were shot and killed in Techiman.
But that is a situation that has the police to deal with.
No, so
why do you accuse the EC of that?
The EC is the one who conducts elections. The EC conducts elections. So the management of the election and everything that day rests on the shoulders of the EC. EC works with the security operations that is put in place, the security architecture that is put in place. Sometimes the EC that will tell the police, looking at the volatility of a person in police stations, we need this number of policemen there. Before the election my constituency, the EC will set a meeting with the political parties and the police commander. They will agree that this place and this place, this police and this police station, because of the nature and this thing there, we will need a soldier and a police. We will need this and this, and not maybe this particular security personnel. You understand? So the EC is the one who actually conducts the orchestra that day. So if some people sang discord within the system, it's the EC who should be liable for it. You don't transfer that blame to the political parties, the political actors, who are already aggrieved by the mechanism you put in place, which in a way did not make the grounds fertile for everybody. So an institution like a EC should always be ready to accept some of the mistakes and the limitations that characterize their work, accept opinions and profile or discuss ways and means of making the institution and the whole electoral system credible, sustainable, and resilient. But not to always rebuff, not to always dismiss or pass the buck. But 2, let me be frank with you, we are so happy that Bossman has thrown the challenge.
It says police will investigate.
We will be so happy to do that. But then he offers the opportunity also to now make the EC very accountable. The accountability that they ran away from at the petition by virtually using cunning means to dodge the box. We shall put them in the public box. We will put the issues out there and let the EC account for themselves.
At the police station.
Why? The police are they not going to conduct investigations? Are they not going to conduct investigations?
So you're expecting the EC to go and file the case, and then you will contribute to the investigation?
Yes.
So what if they don't file the...
then he'll be running away. He's not the one who has said he was throwing it up to the police.
Okay.
He'll be running away from his own statement. That will make him more incredible.
You hold on for me. Let me talk to Dr. Amwa for a bit. Dr. Amwa, I'm sure you've heard...
Not for a bit, too. He's speaking like...
I know. Don't worry.
14 minutes.
Yes, I am my own timekeeper here. Don't worry.
If you say a bitch, thank you, sir.
Are you going to be the spokesperson for the EC?
But the NDC have issues.
I'm asking a question.
You listen right now, don't worry.
Are you the spokesperson for the EC?
The NDC have issues.
When your party have turned themselves into a PR for the EC,
no, they have not. He is here on his merits as a member of parliament, designated by the MPP to speak.
I've talked like a member of parliament, but a Ghanaian. Not even as an NDC person.
But what have you made of the EC in general and their defense of this particular situation?
Boss, my regards to our viewers this morning. I think all these exercises are being done in vain. They are needless, they are not important, they are versionary tactics by the opposition party because they don't have any alternative policies. They have never presented any. Please, look. When you were talking, I kept quiet.
I'm not talking.
So can you accord me the needed respect?
No, you're not like so much. I shouldn't laugh.
No.
He says
because
not expressing
you know the way I
emotion.
respect you. I can't go like my colleague.
Listen. What I'm saying I shouldn't even laugh.
He says don't laugh. It's okay.
Thank you.
I'm not saying you shouldn't laugh. But how can one be talking? Another person is producing.
He doesn't want to be distracted.
Producing destructive interference of waves. You can't do that.
Dr. Amwa, go on.
People want to know the truth.
Dr.
My brother, we have a country. For about 5 months now, a woman was pregnant. She faked kidnapping. And they are kidnapping. The next thing is LGBT. And then now we move to elections conducted about a year ago, went to Supreme Court, which is the most important stakeholder in all these controversies, dealt with, sealed. We are moving on with this prevailing global COVID economy challenge. The US and other places, their supply chains, fuel issues everywhere, including unemployment, even the developed economies and jurisdictions, and they are finding solutions to it. And as a country, this is what stakeholders will think we have to go on. Posterity will judge all of us. Me, I'm not holy, but I believe in God. It doesn't matter what you want to do. What is the case? The former president who failed to even congratulate the present president. When we felt we had been cheated, we went to court. Who said Afarijan and Co. had never been criticized in this country? That my brother is talking about. Ghanaians are not kids. Anytime MPP loses, hey, they've stolen us. Anytime NDC loses, hey, we've stolen them. This is a fact. Depending on where people think the game is being directed towards. So you can't come and say that Afarijan never said. Afarijan told us that in a very cheeky manner that we should win at the polling stations and stuff like that. Say all sorts of things as if they were not directly involved in the processes. I don't want to visit all these things. But what are they talking about? The president never said just because of the extra 1 million. In any case, did they count it? Who counted that ballot papers? According to them,
you mean the excess?
Yes, who counted it?
Well, they conducted an audit.
Which audit?
When they
I mean the one they said the
ballot stuffing.
Who counted it? They counted it, or Yeezy counted it. You are producing over 17 million ballot papers by different firms. Even your small company here, I mean small in relative to the Yeezy job, not that city is small. When you're doing printing, you have a lot of issues. Even if that thing they are talking about, What is it? You went to court. Did they make any statement? Did they include that in their case? Why, after 1 year, this is what the NDC want to raise, just to look at even the correctness of the case. It is incorrect too. The timeliness. Why are they doing this? They are planning propaganda, conspiracy game theory, threatening people to the extent that the former president was saying that it's do and die affair. Do and die, who is going to die? It's kowa di kowa. If that's what they want to say. We are tired of these threats. They are empty. Understand that, yes, our electoral processes need to be refined. It's ongoing process. Even US, up to now, there are issues with their elections. Even now, even they are better jurisdiction with all the experiences they have. So that we all agree. Things cannot be 100%. My constituency, God is my witness. EC officer was caught around 9:15 at the Coalition Center, smuggled ballot boxes to a very secluded area, forcing to open it and put something in.
What happened to him or her?
I had to save him. It's a fact. You can go to Kumasi and check.
No, don't worry.
But they would have killed him before God.
Is he or she before court?
No, what I'm saying is that if every small you go to court. What I'm saying depends on.
Yes, but that is the problem that he's talking about.
I'm coming, but whichever way, even some people don't want to go through the Herculean task of court. It depends. Now
somebody's trying to break open a ballot box.
Saying, but this is a fact.
I know. I'm not challenging you on that.
It was easy. What I'm trying to say is that my point is that these pockets of issues, errors, and intentions and plans are all over that we used to have opaque box, didn't we?
Yes.
We used to have black and white.
Yeah, then we moved.
Now we did. So we are progressing. But if somebody thinks because of power, everything they want to do is about threatening people, issuing this, doing that, causing that, and always thinking like if they don't win, hell must break loose. And now they went to the extent that, violence. Boss, on my phone here, if your people will be ready to show to Kenyans, I'll give it to you. Under His Excellency former President Mahama, respectfully. In Burahafu, I'll show you people that they cutlass people like meat, kill some of them. The evidence is here. It's not like I'm
which
lying.
part of the Burahafu region?
Esunafu North, South. Those
which
areas.
Election?
Under former President Mahama. I will show
which
you.
Election?
I will show you the pictures you go. Don't be. I'm not lying. So when I give it to you, I'm lying. You can take.
No, I'm just saying. Which election was this?
I'm saying under former President Mahama. Was it 2012? It wasn't it? I can show it to you. So
I just want to be specific.
I'm saying I have them here. So don't try to pin me so that if I forget about my date or something, use it. All that I'm trying to say is that this is what they did. They killed a pastor called Nyame Kwame. They know. I will show you the pictures, the people, the cutlass. I will show you the blood. They're all here. I drove my car to the north, the year 2000, Upper East. I was living with Abedi Pele's in-law, Madam Khadija. She used to sue for talency. The way the NDC guys and the so-called security agencies brutalized us, tortured us, even women. One lady was called Christy Okso. I'm not saying if it was good or bad, or these are all characterizing our elections that we need to condemn and work on. But the NDC guys, they that introduce, perpetuate, entrench violence. Even my own constituency, Kumasi, Asokwa, go and check what they did to us. What they've been doing to us. Sometimes we finish elections. Some of our boys who will do police station agents in Ghana here 3 days, we can't find them. Somewhere from Lagos and other places. Lisbeth or him, Honorable Lisbeth or him brother. They plug the eye. We don't want to be visiting all these things because they are the worst offenders. But what we are saying is that we are trying to progress. You went to court. The court pronounced your case, whatever it is. I'm not a legal practitioner. I'm a finance person. Mm-hmm. Former President Mahama did not even have that leadership and statesmanship, whatever it is, stratification. I don't care. I don't even know the grammar to use. To even say that, okay, I don't agree with the verdict. But I think as a statesman, as I am for peace, tranquility, and coexistence, I congratulate. Did he do that? No, nobody did that. All that we are saying is that I think the NDC guys, they are using reversed psychology. They have a hidden agenda. Look, a lot of the MPP MPs that lost the election, who lost the elections, we cannot say the NDC stole the elections. I'm telling you, do you know what they do? Most of the time when they call for recounting, they steal the elections. They have well-rehearsed plan that they do. Look, the 2012 elections. I went to the north with Ambassador Edward Boateng, China. You know the one that call him. When the election, normally NDC MPP, a few hours after elections, it's like, oh, this person won, this person, NDC is winning. And then I told him that I've been doing politics from childhood, constantly. Not that I'm lying, they know. I know the game very well. The NDC guys have a game. If we don't go around, they'll change a lot of the figures. So we started driving from Kumasi. We went as far as Tolong. They know what I'm talking about. We got to a place called Kakalute polling station. Is it Kakalute or Kakalute polling station? Along the black voter. They had finished elections and said that former President Mahama had gotten, I think, about 1-0 or 112 or 102. Nanado, 0. And there was this other guy who does, the fishing. He said that he voted for Nana. So if the sum had gotten bad, then you agree. By 0, they you agree. This was a serious issue. So we had to settle this case. Police, everybody was there. They opened the same ballot box they had sealed and written the figures. Former President Mahama got, I think, 70 or 80 something. Another got about 40 or 24 or something. What I'm saying is that these issues, I'm not saying we should accept them. They are there. They do it. They are worse offenders. Our people maybe some too might have also done some. But this election that we had is the best, the most efficient election ever in our history. They know. But it says that the fact that 2024, as of now, the NDC as the #1 opposition party has not been able to conduct one press conference with properly organized, established alternative policies and programs with respect to solving the prevailing challenges. They want to use propaganda. Communist inferior tactics, Kankamusa. You know, this is what they do. They do these things to muddy the water, diversionary tactics. This will not wash. All that we are saying is that we need peace. It's not do and die affair. It is about your vision. It is about your programs. It's about proving records. Nanadu took over 2016. What was the situation like? Primary macro indicators, secondary macro indicators, social intervention policies, agriculture, this, employment. We do all this. We see policies. How current challenges we are having over the world, we are solving it. This is what we have to do. But this issue that we dealt with 1 year ago, every polling station, NDC, they have an agent there. Coalition Center, they have agent there. This time, we even did regional coalition center. When we finished the elections, respectfully, Honorable Hanatete, Lawyer Maleba, all the NDC top gurus, these are respectable people. They are not ordinary. They came to Ashanti region and criticized us of stealing the elections and even cited some constituencies, including mine. They were on one side, we were on the other side, EC was there. The media, they were there. Almost 2 hours, they couldn't produce one pink sheet. So if you have not received your pink sheet, you have not gone through it, you are saying somebody has stolen the election. Based on what? Based on what? And you, the media men, were part of the collation exercise. At least, I can remember multimedia, sorry for mentioning this.
No, go on.
They were all over Ghana producing their figures on TV and other things. So were they lying? If the credibility of the EC is being questioned now, then the media's credibility must be questioned. I'm not saying the election was perfect. And the time the NDC they are bringing, ask them, why? What is the rationale? Why are they making this case so entrenched, so something like it has to overrule everything now that we are doing? The very time the unemployment, right from Kwame Nkrumah time up to now, because the fast rate at which our population is growing, and NDC and PP, we have not been able to match the growth with the needed stable industries and stuff like that. Now that the COVID economy is destroying the entire country, that our fiscal spaces are so much congested, we are borrowing because we cannot take a lot of taxes, and we think taxes are killing people, we have to do this. We should begin to come around the table as opposition and incumbent. They bring policies, this alternative, we argue, these are the issues. But this issue they are talking about, it will not fly. Because me and this, I know them. Insecurity issues, this person fake kidnap, topic, go and do this, all those things. They are communist inferior tactics. That is what they know doing best. It's the strategy they started. In fact, it's the birthright of the NDC. This is what they want to do. What we want to tell them is that they should take away the threat. Because gone are the days that they could beat anybody anyhow. It is a sovereign country with democracy as our hallmark. We believe in peace, tranquility, but natural inertia will not allow anybody to take advantage of the fact that they believe in violence and that the president is saying that do or die. Nobody will die. We will do. But if they want to die somebody, I also tell them that kowa di kowa.
Anyway,
that's all.
The point needs, however, to be addressed. That no. I'm asking a question. They say we went through a process. We've gone to court as part of that process. There's a verdict. You have alluded already to that should perhaps have ended the matter for them. But they are still at it. And they have outlined other issues. So, for instance, the loss of lives, what they call the militarization of the process. If you look at our history, every election has been perfected based on the commentary of both parties, so to say. So there are elections that were the improvements that you spoke about. The 1996 election, for instance, was improved by the criticism of the MPP of that process in 1992. We've had that particular growth over several elections. So if they continue their criticism, is there not lessons to be learned from some of these things?
Boss. The way they
must we allude there is some negative agenda to it?
No, but I'm telling you, the space of time, the rationed time resource we have.
You are suspicious.
I'm coming. They don't have that motive. Look,
why don't they have that motive?
Can I finish? Is the national security not in the process of even compensating the victims? Are we not doing that? Have they done that before? I have the pictures. If you show to the world for them to know what I'm talking about, I will give it to you when you go off. Then if you like, show to Ghanaians. I decided not to send them to social media because I think these things are not good enough. But now, we will prove to the NDCs. They cannot always commit something in higher magnitudes and they will come back and show to Ghanaians if they are doing this because they can do more propaganda. What you are saying is 100%. But what I'm saying is, does it warrant the space of time, the threats, the proportion that they are blowing all these things and trying to say that this is what we have to, at least under MPP's government and Nanado's government. If that is true or false, the national security is taking upon itself to compensate all those who. Is it the first time people are having issues in politics in terms of I told you Elizabeth Ohene's brother, a doctor, lost the eye in the Volta region.
But it's the first time we've had an election with 9 people dead.
What's the first time you have an election with what?
9 people dead.
The first time, who told you? This is a record you have. Because people were dying. Those days, were you having social media? Do you know how many people have died because of politics? What are you talking about? Do you know the number of people that died under Nkrumah? Do you know why this knife came in Bafo? Have you heard Bafo? Mm-hmm. Do you know why it came? Chumesi and Bafo. One killed the other person because he left Kwame Nkrumah's party. Do you know a lot of people that died? Do you know a lot of people that have died under NDC, PNDC?
During
because
elections?
of yes. Do you know? Because now we have better system to record. Let's not do ourselves any disservice.
Okay.
Whether it's 1, 2, 3, 10, 5, who started, who have done more. I will show you the pictures you see. Whether under any elections, if you like, when he's talking, let me send it to your people, show it to Ghanaians. These are facts. You can go and check. It's not photo, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to go deeper because one of them related to a friend, not a friend, a brother from NDC, a brother because they're all my brothers. One of the guys who caused the death was found under one person's bed. And the case was in court. I don't want to, because when it comes to this, we all have to show some ethics.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that I agree with you. We need to change it. We need to refine this. But they shouldn't behave like something untoward happened. Somebody stole the election. Now they cannot be 100% sure. They are saying that, the 1 million votes. Okay, if we burn them, so why all these complaints? So what has that got to do with ballot stuffing? Because the president used ballot stuffing.
But he's talking about trust.
So ballot stuffing, you're talking about trust. But can you trust the NDC?
Okay.
No, can you trust them? Can you trust them when it comes to facts and figures? Can you trust them? I am saying that enough of these communist inferior Kankamusa politics.
So you see it as a strategy.
Of course.
Diversion.
They are
Okay.
smart.
Thank you very much.
I don't begrudge them because they also want to come to power.
Dr. Stephen Amwa, no
but
problem.
they should bring alternative, proper issues, constructive issues, nation building oriented issues for us to know when they are giving power. They are the only social democratic party in the world. They cannot boast of one proper policy of national character.
Thank you.
In terms of implementation, not one.
Okay, let me do around two quickly.
They cannot.
Let me do
Which
around
one?
two.
Is
Thank
it
you,
free
Dr.
school?
Dr. Stephen Amwa, calm down for me.
Is it LEAP?
Oh, Dr.
Is it
Stephen
free
Amwa.
SHS?
Dr.
Is
Stephen
it
Amwa,
national health
you
insurance?
spoke
They
about
cannot
time.
boast one in terms
Sticker,
of
you spoke about time.
I don't think what they are doing is fair.
You spoke about time.
Thank you, my brother.
It's 11:33.
Sorry.
That means you got an extra 3 minutes.
Okay, no problem. Oh, you can add that to me.
You can send your message via 0549986996, 0550585832. That's the WhatsApp line. I'll just take a couple of messages, then I'll go back to Honorable Milante van der Poel, and then we will wrap this up after that phase. On the matter of the elections, Edmond from Buenyonye says, if Dr. Amwa saw an EC official trying to open a ballot box and didn't report that officer to the police for his arrest, then he's part of the problem we have with our elections. That's the message.
The person is right.
By the way, the police should stop storming election centers to intimidate Ghanaians. And that's Edmond again sending that one through. AU Farouk Tamalino says, good morning to you all. Seriously, the ECC and her deputies have been behaving a bit irresponsibly. What kind of unrealistic analysis was that? And he goes on to then make certain allegations about Dr. Bosman Asare. Many Ghanaians have lost confidence in the EC. They have a lot of work to do. This is from Xylix Dwayne in London. Kwekula Pass says, Godfrey, you don't need a rocket scientist to tell you that last year's elections were rigged. Why was there a large disparity between the presidential votes and parliamentary votes, especially in the Ashanti region? This was the worst election we have conducted in the Fourth Republic. And then Walanyo Nakwetia says, I am surprised that we are pampering the NDC over issues that they cannot provide evidence over. Where and how could printed ballot papers could they have happened and we did not see this? This is just a fairy tale. And then a few more have come through on this matter. Let me just get those ones. If 1 million ballot stuffing is a true allegation, the EC was given a platform at the court to clear itself. And what happened? So now we don't know the actual figure that the president won the election by. If the whole EC can't use a calculator, then what rights do they have to call for an investigation? This is Ablade, Efia Kuma Zongo, Takrade, and Mohammed Sadiq from Tamale says, Godfred, rigging an election doesn't occur on the day of the election or at one stage of the election process. It starts from the acquisition of election materials, registration of eligible voters, exhibition of provisional voter register, printing of ballot papers, voting, collation of election results, and declaration of results. At each of the above-mentioned election stages, elections can be rigged. These are the words of Mohammed Sadiq. So, Honorable Nyantevadapo, I'm back to you on this matter. You've outlined the lack of trust between the NDC. The EC has opened itself up. And like I said, there are those who hold the opinion that the NDC perhaps has been a bit averse to the change. You've explained why, because the conduct of this EC is particularly different from what the NDC has been used to. How does the NDC move on? Because whether you like it or not, the EC will be there to conduct another election. Things are not going to change. You'd certainly have to move on.
Godfrey, you know something? I want to say that Sika is my very good friend, as he himself said. He respects me, I respect him. But I can say, he's a very good person when it comes to standing in the classroom and teaching. But he has not done justice to himself this morning. Because all the things he's talking about.
This is personal attack.
No. I'm just analyzing and critiquing what you said.
For teaching, not for
no.
politics.
I'm saying what you have said now It's virtually not related. All the things you've said about NDC, policy, and all those things
You go on.
have nothing to do
Leave that to
with
the
the
audience.
issue at stake we are
Leave
talking
that to the
about.
audience.
Thank you.
Leave
And
that
just
to the
draw your
audience.
attention to it.
That's your
That's what I'm
opinion.
saying right from
Honorable
beginning.
Nilati, leave that to
If
the
you
audience.
put you
Make
on
your
the
point.
shoe of being a
I'm
PRO
saying
for the
that-
Electoral Commission, you make a mistake.
That is, I'm not. What I'm saying
me
is
and
that
you- me
it's
and
a
you-
strategy you are using because you don't have alternative policy. If you want to give press conference, what will you talk about?
Honorable Amor, you expressed
So you
how
want
you
to
wanted
use
this
this to confuse
conversation to happen.
people.
Anyway, you set the rules.
Look,
so you
sorry,
let it
I'm
you
go.
know
sorry.
something? You see, I'm happy himself alluded to certain infractions within the system during elections. Mr. McMenu
Campaign
himself,
manager.
campaign manager, came out and said that President Mama did not receive the number of votes that was credited to him.
When did he say this?
Oh, just after the elections. I can show it to you. I have it on my phone. I can show it to you. He said it. So it's all about these things that the NDC is asking for, that transparency and accountability. And we think that this EC did not provide us. Look, let me ask you. I'm happy you also did your monitoring. Did the EC change figures 3 times or not?
You mean at the end of
Yes.
the
Yes. Did they
change figures?
figures? Yes. Did
How
the
so?
EC
At which
himself
level?
accepted the fact that they made mistake in the declaration of results in the first place?
Okay, bro.
Didn't J. Mensah come to say that she's correcting her mistakes? Even at the petition at the Supreme Court, did that issue come up? If somebody accepts the fact that he or she may have made mistake in calculating something, you declared somebody winner of an election based on a particular figures you have, and then the next day you come to change the figures. That declaration you made in the first place is annulled by law. I'm telling you.
And the second figures could have changed the results.
Dr. Amor, leave the questions.
Sorry, boss.
The second figure may not significantly change the conclusion you drew, but the fact is that by law, me and you, if you fill this form, declaration form, it's a based upon this evidence, I declare that this, and then any part of that evidence becomes questionable, the declaration you make is faulty. That's why when you are filling a form, they tell you that any this thing misrepresentation you make on the form nullifies all the this thing you have done. Simple. Law is a basic law. These are all the issues that need the attention of every Ghanaian who believe in the fact that we must have an institution that is credible and that is trustworthy. We must have an institution that is resilient in its mechanisms and systems that will make it difficult for somebody in Sticker's constituency want to break a ballot box. You understand me? These are the worries that NDC is talking about. The fact that the former president used one particular incident does not mean that the plethora of deficiencies that we saw in the elections should not be done. And then a patriotic Ghanaian will be looking at criticizing or bringing out criticisms about an institution's performance in order to make it better for tomorrow. I'm happy you alluded to the fact that since 1992, our electoral system has evolved based upon criticisms from one particular actor or a stakeholder or the other. So if today the NDC and John Mahama is also bringing out certain things that will help us make the system resilient, what crime has he committed? What crime has he committed? When all of us as players in the system saw those things happen,
but interpreted it differently.
Goffert, you and I'm happy you asked my friend, my colleague, about the deaths, and he himself said, even if one life was lost, it's just too many. We should be able to have a very smooth election where no life will be lost, where no blood will be spilled, where even a pin will not fall on the ground. You understand? That's the sort of system we want to have. So every contribution of every Ghanaian that will lead us to ensuring that we can have that system should be welcomed. And we should all discuss it dispassionately. But it's because every time politics dwarf our sensibility so much that even when somebody says something, we look at the person who is saying it than the substance of what the person is saying. All of us. It is something that is become chronic. It's become cancerous with our political system, that when I say something, instead of looking at what I'm saying and see whether that will benefit me and him, because it's coming from me in Ilante, so he first will look at me in Ilante, the messenger, than the message. But I'm saying that this is about our elections. This is about what will make this country survive, develop, as Tika we want to see. You understand? So it is important that we look at what President. Let's first ask ourselves, is there any shred of evidence in what the NDC is saying? Yes. What do we do to ensure that next time it doesn't happen? What do we do to ensure that next time there won't be an excess 1 million ballot papers printed by any of the printing houses we have? But that will even call for one particular party or other agent to point it out.
But you are a man who has spent his entire life in communication.
Yes.
How to speak. Mm-hmm. What you say, how you say it matters.
Yeah.
Is it perhaps also not the case that the NDC might have a case, but how they have consistently said what they have said and the meanings it brings perhaps affects the EC in such a way that they are constantly on the defensive against what you say?
Go for it. President Mahama's reaction was only in response to the 100% Jemensa gave herself. If Jemensa had not come to say that this was the best elections we've ever had, that she has presided over the best. Mm-hmm. If Jemensa had not said that, when you and I, so we should keep quiet and allow Jemensa to just say it and go away. When you and I know that this is the worst that we've had, because 9 lives have been lost. Because there has been a situation where 1 million excess ballot papers have been printed by a printing house that have been given a quotation as to the number they should print. You understand? How many more of such cases will have happened somewhere? We have a situation where individuals have been arrested with more than 1 ballot papers, which is against the law. We have situations where electoral officers have tried to change results and they've been arrested. Some of them suspended. What happened? What are the things? Do you just suspend a person? What are the things you have to do in order to serve as a deterrent to others tomorrow? So these things are the ills of the system. And President Mahama tried to say that, look, you are saying you scored 100%. But I'm telling you, you did not even score 50% because of 1, 2, 3, 4. It is for you to come back and tell people, oh yes, I would have scored. When I say I scored 100%, yes, I took account of the issues you brought. But compared to this system, I still think that we did better. It is not for you to come and try to paint somebody as being unduly political and being somebody unpatriotic. You understand?
I understand you. Let me take a quick break.
I'll speak again.
Yes, you will. You speak again. Don't worry. I have 10 minutes. I'll share it equally.
Oh, no.
No, I mean...
He's spoken.
Yes, he's just spoken. So when I say, I'll say...
So
calm down.
10 is me.
Don't worry. But how many minutes did I speak now?
Welcome back. Entering the final phase of this. Dr. Stephen is always a great man to have in the studio. He's drawn himself a crown algorithm. I'll allow him to share it
by
in
the
a few
president.
seconds. Please wrap up.
Yeah,
you have 2 minutes.
One funny issue that I would want my brother to dissuade himself from is the fact that he's trying to interpret Jomama's statement of do or die in a way that is alien to any Ghanaian who has listened to John Mahama from the day he came onto the political scene up to today.
Okay.
You know John Mahama. If those words have come from Stika, I would take it the way he's saying it, but not John Mahama. If it come from you, Godfred, I know I would take it. But when it comes from sticker or comes from Nana Akufo-Addo, I will take it in a way. Is that what we are going to talk about? John Wake said do or die. He even interpreted the context before he even mentioned that word. What hasn't Nana Akufo-Addo said about this country?
I don't want us to lose focus of
yes, but so that's
what we are doing.
That's why I want him to get himself off that track.
Because
if he goes on that track, I will make references to all the things Samia Oku said.
Stay on track. Just stay on track.
What do you call him? Anthony Cabo said, and Obribuayin said, and all those things, they are all in my memory.
I don't want you to lose track.
That's
you
what
have
I'm
just a
saying.
minute
Don't
more.
let us, as a people, as a country. The issue is that certain things have happened. You and I sitting here, it is in our interest for us to sit down. That is the institution that our taxes being used to be, because Barack Obama advised all of us that we should not build strong men, we should build strong institutions. If we continue to make Jane Mensah and Bosman Asare think that they are above the law, they are beyond criticism, they are lords, they are gods, Zeus and the rest, they will continue to do things that will plunge this country into chaos. It is time we critique them. It is time we look at their performance and let them understand that you can do better.
Okay.
That in order to forestall a situation where this country will go the way of certain other countries, it is better. Look, what is the main reason that have been given by General Domboya in Guinea? Is it not related to elections? So, do you know, Ghana is not an island.
Okay.
One action that will make certain group of people in this country feel that the system has not been fair could lead to insurrection. And let me tell you, as Speaker Babin said the last time, the might of the people is stronger than the people in power. The power of the people is stronger than the people in power.
Thank you very much.
No matter what you do, you can have the army, you can have the police, you can have all these security. When the people decide to march because they are not happy, I have seen army men with tankers run away when people march.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nilante Van Der Poel. So let's wrap up with you now, Dr. Amwa.
Yes.
On
In the first place.
let me ask my question.
Oh, sorry.
He's a lecturer, he's prepared this question already. He's prepared this, he's going to ask the question and answer himself.
Okay. You still have 5 minutes.
Yes, this is a matter of simply engendering trust. EC political parties, growth, next elections. How do we get on that path where we don't have this situation where one political party keeps coming back to how the election was conducted, dissatisfied, even after several instances have come into play?
Okay.
Go on.
Thank you. Give me 5 minutes.
Yes, you have 5
I'll
minutes.
solve that.
Yeah, solve that equation
before I
for
come
me.
to that, I want to tell you this story. Have you heard Mr. Ojan Fitem before?
What?
Mr. Ojan Fitem, Mr. Ojan Fitem.
No, I have not.
It's a song. Are you not Ghanaian? You've heard that before?
It's a song which is played in Shiaiso.
Oh.
At funerals in Shiaiso.
But you've never heard this.
No, I've not heard it.
It's, yeah.
I've been to a funeral in Shiaiso.
You know, the story behind it is that there was a man, somebody wanted to take his wife, but the man was very strong. But the wife planned with the other man who wanted to take her from the husband.
Okay.
The only way you can do, if he could do that, was to kill the man. But the man is so strong, you cannot. So the woman said, then when he's asleep, I'll call you to come. I said, how can you? He said, okay, I'm going to create a chimney using bamboo. And then when you see the fumes, then you realize you have to know that my husband is asleep. So it happened, he came and killed the man. And they were living together. So when the man too was a hunter, when he goes to hunting and is coming back home, and the woman is cooking and he sees the fume, he doesn't want to come home. So we stay somewhere, they will go and call him, and the man will say, because he thinks
It's another signal for another person to come and kill him.
And this is to my brothers NDCs. Now, I want you to know, before I answer yours, nobody ever said that when we come to power, we're going to remove Charlotte Osei. That statement is incorrect. You see, because they are respecting him, so that's why I'm using good vocabularies. Because he's
not
my,
about him,
I really like him too
It's
much.
for the audience. You have to use...
But that's why I'm saying incorrect.
Yes.
It's not true. Then the way forward is that all the stakeholders involved should display what we tell the public, what is honesty, sincerity, holistic, purity, those things in, I think, Philippians or Ephesians, things of good report. The media have to be extremely neutral. You need to illustrate neutrality to the core, in and outside. MPP and NDC should truly have this nation, the peace and the stability, the coexistence we need at heart. The EC must review its activities and ensure that, yes, as he said, transparency for all stakeholders to really understand the processes. But you see, we also have, brother, people who, look, there are men when they want to leave the wife. Oh, yesterday the soup was salty. Then, oh, I'll add salt. No, there's no salt. And then they'll do the salt. Oh, you put my socks here. The woman will go and bring brand new socks. Hey, the one is longer than the other. There are people, it's not like they want to see the truth. They have their own agenda. That's why I drew this conspiracy algorithm by the NDC and former President Mahama. This is conspiracy game theory. You see, 1 million vote. Look at how the Chronicle. If it's no, then case closed. If it's yes, then he moved to psyching the people with that thing. Then he moved to ballot staffing. So it means maybe they use the 1 million to staff, psyching the people. If that is no, case closed. If that is true, do or die. But what I'm telling my brothers, that anybody that adopts this algorithm, it becomes a chain that never ends. So they should be careful. It's not only MPP or NDC or media, anybody that will suffer. Let us advise ourselves and eschew all forms of scarcity and aberrant behaviors that are inimical and dysfunctional to the performance of this republic. Because anything that happens and is dysfunctional, its cyclical effect, everybody will become a victim. What we need in our country today, it's peace, tranquility, coexistence, true and proper reforms in honesty. No reforms to favor MPP. If it's not MPP, there is no good. If it's not NDC, it's no good. That is the only way. And the media will be true and proper, honest referees and judges. And also select your captions, all the media industry in Ghana. Don't listen to MPP and NDC propaganda too much, and don't let us drive this nation based on propaganda issues. But some of these issues can't just be dealt with like with contempt. Then we move on. But once we give them, it's like the tribal issues.
Okay.
The tribal issues in Accra can be discussed in Kumasi. In Kumasi can be discussed in Accra. In Accra can be discussed in Volta region. And what are we doing to ourselves? So all stakeholders, your reportage, the EC's work in terms of efficiency, effectiveness, MPP and DC should stop group and individual interests. And the nation should be truly be at the center of this issue. And also we should avoid Cinderella syndrome.
Which one's that?
Sometimes in this country, whether in DC and MPP, we don't assign right people to the right positions.
Okay.
So sometimes some of them, they are not necessarily doing politics against NDC and MPP, but probably in terms of efficiency and effectiveness,
they just don't know their jobs.
They are not up to the task.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stephen
So
Amo, Member of Parliament for Nsiaso. Thank you very much. The Honorable Nilanti Vanderpool, Member of Parliament for Odududu. My name is Godfred Akoto. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Big Issues. Always good to have you on the show, Sticker. I enjoyed it very much. And let me just say, send birthday wishes to my good friend, fellow amount for Emmanuel Pabite.
You went to Prempe?
Yeah, he's 40 today. Yes, I went to Prempe. Oh, look at the Puku boy. The Big Issues back next week.
No, I'm not. Maybe your parents.